So today we are going to look at Conqueror's Haki and who has it and what universe. But before we go on, I wrote out a reference sheet so as we're doing our decision making, we can put people in places based off of this list right here. So this is common personality traits of Conqueror's Haki users. Strong ambition. Possesses an unwavering desire to achieve greatness and surpass limits. Exceptional determination. Never gives up no matter how difficult the path or overwhelming the odds. Think Ace. Natural leadership. Inspires confidence, loyalty, and unity through strength of character and conviction. Think Luffy, Ace, Roger, Rocks, Shanks. Fearlessness. Faces danger and uncertainty without hesitation or intimidation. Think Kid when he was in front of Kaido, Zoro when he had to fight Mihawk, Luffy in general. Unbreakable spirit. Remains steadfast and unshaken even in the face of crushing adversity. Again, think Kid when Kaido dropped right in front of him. I think he was one of the only supernovas to actually try and fight him. Unyielding resolve. Refuses to compromise convictions or abandon a chosen course. You can think Katakuri. And unrelenting will. Pursues goals with relentless persistence. Alright, so now that we have our reference and our marker, what verse are we going to see if the characters have Conqueror's Haki or not? Let's see what we got. Yep, you guessed it. We are doing the Bleach verse. So this shouldn't take too long, guys. I'm not sure how long the video will be, but let's get right into it. So as you can see, we have Conqueror Haki confirmed. We have high possibility, maybe, not likely, and not at all. So let's start with, we'll go with the head captain. This is an easy one. This is an easy one. We have Yamamoto, plus 1,000-year-old Shinigami, who's reigned the strongest over the Gote 13 for a millennia, as he would put it. No Soul Reaper has come before him that was stronger, right? I think he fits the mold for this. Unbreakable spirit, unyielding resolve, right? Like, he was willing to blow himself up just to take out Aizen. Like, he literally was going to use himself as a sacrifice. Exceptional determination. Yeah, I think Yama fits in this pretty well. So we're going to put old boy right up there. Conqueror's Haki confirmed. All right, we got Sosuke Aizen next. Sosuke Aizen. Let's see. Aizen had ambitions to take over the Soul King's throne. We could stop right there. I think that fits. He's definitely a natural leader. He's clearly fearless. Unyielding resolve. Refuses to compromise conviction or abandon a chosen course. Yeah, I think our boy Aizen got it. I mean, just from him wanting to create the Oken, I mean, you have to have some type of crazy ambition to think you could beat the Soul, well, not beat the Soul King, but replace the Soul King. Yeah, Aizen's definitely a Conqueror's user. All right, Haribel. Now this is tricky. This is very tricky. So when we look at Haribel, when she was in Waco Mundo, she wasn't like a big shot, right? She didn't really have much going for herself. She was clearly as strong as Spada, but how many of these traits does she really fit? Does she have strong ambition? Not really. Exceptional determination. You could argue it. Natural leadership. Yeah, she's definitely a natural leader. Fearlessness. Yeah, we can give her fearlessness. Unyielding resolve, unrelenting will, and unbreakable spirit. Yeah, see, I'm not getting that from her. But honestly, if I had to choose, if I had to pick, I would say it's a high possibility. She's not a confirmed user, but she's definitely high. And the reason I think she's high, at least for me, is she reminds me of Katakuri. Like, when you look at Katakuri's personality and his resume, you wouldn't necessarily think he would deserve Conqueror's Haki, but he still has it. And I think she fits the mold of a Katakuri-esque type of character. Green Zhao Jack. So Grimmjow is he's an interesting one. He's not pussy, right? It's not like Grimmjow would ever run from a fight, but he knows who to pick his battles with. So initially, I would say he's high possibility, but let's look at the list. Let's look at the list. Does Grimmjow have strong ambition? Yeah, I think he does. Even before he had the transformation with the Hokyoku, I think he said he wanted to be the strongest. Or I might be thinking of Notora, I'm not going to lie. Exceptional determination, I think we can give that to him. He was someone who was very hard to put down. Even after the fight with Ichigo, he took a hit from Notora off guard and still lived through it. Got to have some exceptional determination to take that. Natural leader, you could say that. When he was going through his, again, his metamorphosis, the other Hollows just gave their power to Grimmjow. And they said, hey, we pick you to be our leader because you're strong. Grimmjow said, I don't want this position, but they gave it to him anyway. He had to take it. Natural leader accepted, yes. But yeah, I think we can stop there with Grimmjow. I think Grimmjow would be confirmed. All right. Kenpachi Zaraki. This is a toughie. This is tough. So let's think about Kenpachi. From the moment he was a boy, all he wanted to do was fight and battle and kill and ravage. But he didn't just want to fight. He wanted to enjoy the fight. And he could only enjoy the fight if he was fighting someone equally as strong as him who could keep up with his swordplay. Right? So, did he have any ambition to be the strongest? I don't think I've ever once heard Kenpachi say, I want to be the strongest. I don't think I've ever heard him say that. I can't say I have. But outside of that, I think he has every other quality we'd be looking for, right? Strong ambition, yes. Yes. Exceptional determination. I think we could give him that just based off of who he is. Natural leadership. Yes, people want to naturally follow Kenpachi. Fearlessness. I've never seen him looking shook ever in my life. Unbreakable spirit. Well, he's never really had a crushing defeat. I've never seen his spirit broken. Unyielding resolve. Refuses to compromise convictions or abandon the chosen course. Yeah. It's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I'm going to say Kenny is high possibility. Not going to lie. High possibility. All right, Nelly L2 Otis Funk. She didn't really get to shine too much when we saw her. But just based off what we know, I'm going to say not at all. Toshiro Hitsugaya. I can't tell. I don't even know what Toshiro's dreams are, man. I've never heard him speak of any type of goal, ambition. He gets rattled easily. Not to say you can't be a conqueror if you get rattled easily, but you know, he's never put himself before anybody. He's never said, I'm going to lay down my life for you. Natural leader, I would disagree. He's a natural leader. Honestly, I don't think he's a natural leader. Let's see. Unrelenting. I mean, he'll lay down his life if he has to out of the necessity for his job. But I don't think Toshiro would die for his friends. Like Luffy was willing to die for Ace and Saba when the bandits had him. He was willing to die. I don't know if Toshiro would die. Yeah, we're going to go not at all for Little Shiro. Komomora. See, Komomora, he just kind of followed Yamamoto and rode his coattail, right? He doesn't really have his own identity. He kind of just leeches off people. Yamamoto leeched off him. Kaname Tosen leeched off him. Tetsuzaimon. He didn't leech off Tetsuzaimon, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like he's not the type of character that's written to put everything on the line and someone who's unwavering. He's not really that type of character, so we're gonna go not at all. All right, now Shunsui's a little tricky for me. Shunsui's very tricky. He's definitely gifted and talented. I think he'd be a natural leader. I would. Now, he's lazy, right? He almost reminds me of the Kizaru of the Bleach verse. You could kind of say that in a sense. But let me think. I think if pressure is put on him, he will rise to the occasion. But naturally, a conqueror is going to already have that dog in him. right? And with Kizaru, you kind of have to force the dog out of him, right? If you guys are following me. So we're going to go... It's not likely he has it, but maybe. And I'm going to say maybe because we've seen instances where people awaken Conqueror's Haki. Like Sanji's about to have an awakening with Conqueror's Haki, right? And he would have been on a maybe list. If I had Sanji right here, he'd be on the maybe list. So we're going to put Shinsui at maybe. All right, we got Badagon. Now, this is for me a no-brainer. Before Aizen got to Wako Mundo, Badagon was running shit. He had like a legion of hollows. Maybe not a legion, but he definitely had a good amount of hollows under his control before Aizen got there, right? He was well respected. He had a palace, and he had ambitions to rule Wako Mundo, which is no small feat. Wako Mundo, I'm hearing, is endless. So he wanted to rule all of Wako Mundo. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, we're going to give Badagon confirmed. All right. Mayuri Kuretsuchi. I don't think I have to think too much about Mayuri. We're just going to say not at all. And if you want to hear my thoughts, I'll just say like this. Mayuri hasn't had any... He's not the type to lay down his life for something bigger than himself or even his friends. He's not the type to do that. I think if he had a choice to take the easy way out, he'd take the easy way out. If he was fighting something that he couldn't handle, he would run away. Whereas someone like Ace, Luffy, Zoro, they would never run away from something they can't handle. They would just sit there and take it. Pause. All right, we got Zamari. Now, Zamari, we didn't really get to see much of his personality. But from what we did see, when he was about to die, he screamed out for another man to come and save him. Not very masculine, Zamari. Not very masculine. So we're going to put him in the not at all category. Not at all. Okay, we got Gin. I'm sorry, if you guys can't tell, that is Gin Ichimaru. I didn't clip it right. His face is out of frame. But we got Gin. Gin is my guy. I love Gin so much. To give him one serious fight is so criminal, but I love the way Gin was written. So let's see. From a young age, Gin had a purpose, right? He saw someone was victimized, and he said, I'm going to get that thing back that man took from you. And he played his part to perfection, right? He waited, and he struck when he had an opportune moment. You could argue there were many opportune moments before Aizen fused with the Hokuoku, which I would, be likely to agree with you with. But he thought that was the best moment to do it, so he did it. Now, that being considered, let me look at the chart. For Gin. Strong ambition, I give him like a 5 out of 10. Exceptional determination, give him like a 6 out of 10. Natural leadership, give him like a 3 out of 10. Fearlessness, I'll give him a 10 out of 10. Unbreakable spirit, remain steadfast and unshaken. I give him like a 6 out of 10. Unyielding resolve. I give him a 10 out of 10 for that. Because he stayed true to his mission, like, no matter what. Like, there was many times where he could have just said, fuck Rankiku. I'm in it with eyes until the wheels fall off. He could have did that, but he didn't. And then unrelenting will, pursues goals with relentless persistence. These two kind of overlap. It's a toughie. I'm going to say Gin, it's a high possibility. He's not a confirmed. He's not a made man. But if he put in enough work when he was alive, he could have been a made man. All right. We got Soifone. Now, from what we know of Soifone, she was always looking up to another person, which was Yoruichi. Nothing wrong with that. I just can't think of any conquerors in One Piece who had a relationship like that, where they were always just looking up to somebody. You think Ace, when he first met Whitebeard, he wasn't looking up to Whitebeard. He said he wanted to take his head. You hear Luffy talk about Roger. He does not say, oh, I want to be just like Roger. No, he says, I'm going to be the next Pirate King. He doesn't even really mention Roger, like, ever, which I love. Doesn't even mention him. Yeah. I'm going to say Soifone is not likely to have it. I'm not going to say not at all, because she does have some good qualities. Like, I think she's a natural leader. I think under the right circumstances, she would lay down her life for someone else, like Yoruichi, probably. So I'm gonna put her in the not likely category. We're gonna save you last, Mr. Kurosaki. You don't get to go next. We're gonna save you for last. All right, Kaname Tosen, the boy who was led astray. Ain't it ironic? Kaname was led astray, but he couldn't see. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. How you led astray, but you blind? Now, when we look at Kaname Tosen's life, he had a lover, and that lover was victimized by, I guess, in the Rukon district or something like that, and he wanted revenge, but no one acted to take revenge on his behalf, so he became a soul reaper so he could correct the corruption and the injustice of this world. So he basically signed up to be the feds. There's nothing Conqueror-esque about that, right? He doesn't have a larger than life ambitious goal that he wants to achieve, right? He just wants to somewhat establish order. And then even in trying to do that, what did he do? He followed Aizen's coattail, right? So this guy most likely does not have, well, we're just going to say not at all. All right. Captain Uno Hana. The first Kenpachi. To be the first Kenpachi, did she ever want to be the strongest? I think she did at one point want to be the strongest. The title Kenpachi means the strongest in and of itself. And she went so far as to be the strongest, where she learned the opposite of combat. She learned how to heal. That is dedication and commitment to like no degree. I'm going to say it's a high possibility that Captain Uno Hana has Conqueror's Haki. It's a high possibility. Or it might be a maybe. I'm leaning more towards high possibility, personally. I'm leaning more towards high. All right, we got Stark. One of my favorite Espadas. He doesn't get talked about enough to me. Now, Stark is extremely powerful. He had enough power to where he could have ruled Hueco Mundo over Baragon. But we know his personality. He doesn't have the ambition to do that. And I think if you have nothing else as a conqueror, you have to have ambition. Like all of these guys up here, they have ambition without doubt, right? We know they ambitious. Wanted to be the king. Ambitious. Wanted to be the king. Ambitious. Wanted to reconstruct the order of the whole fucking world. Yamamoto, he's just the OG. Don't argue with your mama. Now Stark, you just don't have the qualifications, my guy. As strong as you are, as much as I like you just don't have it. We're gonna say not likely. I'm not gonna say not at all. Actually, yeah, we're gonna say not at all. I don't think you have it at all. Okay, we got Grimmjow twice. That was an accident, obviously. So we'll go Ukitake. Let's see, Ukitake. All right, from what we know of his past, he was born sick, so his parents prayed to the left arm or the right arm of the Soul King, whatever Mimi Haki is, and it allowed him to live out his years as a full-fledged Shinigami. But he's such I feel like Ukitake is like a background character. And being a background character, it's very hard for me to say you would have Conqueror's Haki, right? So I'm going to say it's not likely he has it. And the reason we're going to go not likely is because I feel like if we followed his story a bit more intimately, he'd be higher on my list. Like, I think we know more about Shunsui than Ukitake. Even though they're like close friends. I just feel like I'm more comfortable with Shunsui. So we're going to leave Ukitake right there at not likely. All right, we got Xyalopero, the scientist. Did he have a goal to never die? Was that his ambitious? Like his ambitious goal was to never die? I think it was. But we're not going to play games. He's missing too many other qualities. I think he's a coward. Not going to lie to you. I think he's a coward. He's definitely not a natural leader, like in no sense or shape. Yeah, we're just gonna say not at all. Kain Shiba. Well, I guess we should call him Aden Yeto. Aden Yeto. Yeah, no, we're gonna say not at all. We're gonna say not at all. A lot, a lot because we're gonna say not at all mainly because we don't know much about Audinero anyway. But from what we've seen in the Rukia fight, it wasn't giving me Conqueror-esque vibes. He didn't seem like a natural leader. He didn't seem unyielding. I didn't see any ambition to be anything other than an Espada. All right, so we're gonna go not at all. All right, we got Yami Relgo. Yami has no ambition that I know of. He's definitely not a leader. Like Yami's like a goofy character. But his goofiness doesn't get him anywhere. Like where Luffy's goofiness kind of makes people like him and attracted to him. Like he's just a nice guy to be around. Yami's goofiness is just like, bro, were you listening to what I said? You know what I mean? Like you'd get irritated with Yami around. With Luffy, it's just like, all right, that's just Luffy. With Yami, it's like, nigga, are you slow? Like I don't know. I just feel like I'd insult Yami a lot more than I would insult Luffy if they were both in my presence. So we're gonna go not at all. He hasn't shown me anything to think he'd be a conqueror, so not at all. All right, my boy Ulquiorra. Ulquiorra. Shiver. All right. So from what we know about Ulquiorra, he's extremely loyal, right? And we know you can be the second in the command instead of Conqueror's Haki. Shout out Scott Gabon. We know you can be the second in command or the third in command and still have Conqueror's Haki. Shout out Sanji. So I don't want to hear, oh, Ulquiorra's number 4. There's no way he can have Conqueror. No, that's not how it works. But if we look at Ulquiorra, let's look at this. Let's bring up the list for my boy. Strong ambition. How well does he rank on the strong ambition? I think he's ambitious to a degree, but his loyalty overrides his ambition. Like his loyalty is a substitute for the ambition, if that makes sense. If you get what I'm saying. So if I'm ranking it off like that, his strong ambition transferred or converted into loyalty would be like a 9, in my opinion. Exceptional determination. Now, we haven't seen him in a situation where he was really outmatched on more than one occasion to see how he acts, except when he was fighting Vasa Lord Ichigo, but we didn't see him falter. We didn't see him run away. We didn't see him cry, bitch, moan. He took it like a champ. So exceptional determination, never gives up no matter how difficult the path. Yeah, we can give that to him based off the fight we saw against Ichigo. Natural leader. I think he is a natural leader. I think Ulquiorra is just so. His epithet thing is despair, right? I think his personality. How do I want to say it? It's not welcoming. Right? So you're not going to have a lot of people crowd him, but that's not to say he's not a natural leader. I think he is a natural leader. Fearlessness, yes. Unbreakable spirit, yes. We've seen him go toe-to-toe with the Vasa Lord, even though he was losing. Yeah, I think, all right, yeah, I'm ready. I know what I'm going to do. Yeah, he's right there. Conqueror confirmed. I think that's a fair spot. All right, we got Notora. Now, Notora is an interesting one because we've heard him say he wanted to be the strongest. But Notora was willing to take shortcuts to get to his path, right? And that's not something we would see a conqueror do. I couldn't see Whitebeard taking drug enhancements to get to his path. Now, he was on medicine, right? Which is kind of funny now that I brought it up. But he wasn't taking enhancements to make himself stronger. And Notora was willing to do anything to get the results, but he's willing to do anything in a bad way, whereas Luffy's willing to give anything just about to get his results. Notora is willing to do anything. Very different. So we're going to say not likely, sir. It's not a complete no, because you do have some qualities. I think he's a natural leader, right? I think he's fearlessness. I don't think he would run away from a fight. He would die fighting like he did against Kenpachi. He would die fighting. Right. All right. We got 2 more. Byakuya Kutsuki. If you can't tell, that is Byakuya Kutsuki. Now, Byakuya is like one of my favorite Soul Reapers. I always tell this to my brother, Abstract. Byakuya is the model example of a Soul Reaper. Like, if you want to put a Soul Reaper up against anybody crossverse, just start with Byakuya. He's going to give you Flash Step. He's going to give you Kido. He's going to give you Shikai. He's going to give you Bankai. He's going to give you Swordplay. You know, he's going to give you the whole 9 yards. Where if you said someone like Komamura, we've never even seen him do Kido. I can't recall. Can he even Flash Step? The answer is yeah, he can. But have we seen him do it? No, we haven't. Right? So I always defer to Byakuya. Like, all right, hey, let's have someone versus Byakuya. You know, or let's do a cross versus battle versus Bleach. Right? And then I'll say Katakuri versus who? Well, let's just put Byakuya in, because Byakuya he's gonna feel every spot. Right? Like I just listed. Now that being said, this boy has extreme ambition and conviction. He was willing to let his own sister die because he believed in the law. And you might think, well, no, the Conqueror thing is the Conqueror thing to do would be to save your sister. Actually, wrong, because his conviction is part of his ambition, and his ambition is to follow the laws and statutes of the world. So he was actually in line with everything he wanted during that moment with the Rukia execution. Now, we've never seen Byakuya run from a fight, in my opinion. I can't recall it. Unyielding resolve. Yep, I was just speaking on this. Refuses to compromise convictions or abandon a chosen course. Again, he would have let his sister die on that cross. Not the cross, but you get what I'm saying. Fearlessness, yes. Natural leadership, without question. And strong ambition. Yeah, so I think it goes without saying that Byakuya would be a confirmed conqueror. Confirmed. All right, last one. Ichigo Kurosaki. Ichigo Kurosaki. So let's look at Ichigo's life. Okay, let's rewind the clock. So Ichigo is the type to stand up for his friends. Right, we seen Chad getting bullied. Woodsy go over there, he helps Chad out, beats up the bullies, what have you. When Rukia comes and she can't fight the Hollow, she gives her power to Ichigo. And Ichigo, he takes it on fearless, right? He beats the Hollows. And, you know, for a while you might think Ichigo would be a confirmed Haki, or confirmed Conqueror's Haki user. But then there's conversations like the one he had with Aizen. And Aizen says, "Why are you fighting me, Ryoka? Like, what are you doing here? You know?" And Ichigo, he's not quick with a response. He's not very quick. Aizen further elaborates that, "Ichigo, you have no motivation to fight me. You're like an eagle without wings. You have the desire." He said, "You don't have the desire, but you have the something." I don't know. It basically boiled down to, Ichigo, you're just here to be here. You have no grudge against me. You have no dog in the fight, right? And for me, that tells me some things. It tells me that Ichigo is almost whimsical. Almost. He's not whimsical. Like, we know why he's there to take down Aizen. But Aizen, what Aizen was saying was he didn't do anything personally to Ichigo. Aizen's looking at it like Ichigo's butting in. Now, whether Aizen's right or wrong, Ichigo didn't refute him. He didn't say anything in that moment of silence where he could have, right? He didn't defend himself. So that's one instance where I question Ichigo's Conqueror's Haki moment. And then the next instance, I would say the conversation he had with Gin Ichimaru, right? Gin was able to correctly assess that Ichigo was afraid of Aizen in his butterfly mode. Now, I'm not saying you can't. No, I might be saying that. If you're a Conqueror, I don't think you have the luxury of being afraid to run a fade. You got to take that ass whooping, bro. Kid took it from Kaido. Luffy took it from. Kid took it from Kaido. Luffy took it from Kaido. Yeah, Kaido been handing out a lot of ass whoopings, ain't he? Like, I don't think you had the luxury of running away. Ace took it from Whitebeard. Ace took it from Akainu. Like, Ichigo was not willing to scrap Butterfly Aizen right then and there. And I'll tell you this, Luffy would have died doing it. And we've seen him die doing it. We've seen Luffy die scrapping. So I'm not exaggerating. So that's the other instance. And then I think one of the last instances I can remember, and it's kind of the same, but when Ichigo's father says, come on, Ichigo, we have to go and stop Aizen before he goes to the real Katakura town. And Ichigo says, no, can't you feel his spiritual pressure? We can't beat that thing. Like, I don't care how high his spiritual pressure was. Luffy's going over there to beat that thing. I don't care how high his spiritual pressure. Zoro's going over there to beat that thing. Like, I don't. Even kids, no brain, have an ass. He can't. Kid probably wouldn't even be able to sense the danger he's in. Hence why he would have went over there. So I think Ichigo is a rare case where your protagonist, who's supposed to have all the best qualities, you know, he's a little bit more human than not. Which is ironic because he's a soul reaper and a human and a Quincy and a hollow and a Fullbringer and a vampire. Yeah. So we're going to say Ichigo. It's not a high possibility. I think Ichigo is in the maybe category. And I'll say maybe because someone else could argue it differently. And okay, maybe he does have Conqueror's Haki, depending on how you argue it. But from the stances and the points that I made personally, I don't think he would have it. I really don't. He's just shown too much instances where he's not confident. We never really see his ambition. Did Ichigo ever have an actual goal in the story? What was his goal? Did he want to be something more than just Ichigo Kurosaki, the Soul Reaper, Hollow, Quincy, Fullbringer? Did he ever want to be more than that? I don't think he did. I think he would definitely die for his friends, though. I think he has no problem sacrificing himself. But the bigger qualities he's missing is more so that extreme ambition and the resolve to die in the face of danger. Like, it's, yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. So if we look at the list, Conquerors confirmed. We got Yama, Aizen, Grimmjow, Badagon, Ulquiorra, Byakuya. I think that's solid. I think these are hard to contest. I think the average person who watched Bleach maybe one time, and if they have a thorough understanding of One Piece, they could see how I got this list right here. High possibility. We got Haribel, Kenny, Gin, and Urahara. Again, none of these guys are confirmed. And I think that's wise because they haven't shown anything that just puts them over the edge, right? But they're close. They're just missing maybe a few more chapters of doing the right things. Shunsui and Aizen? Shunsui and Ichigo? Maybe. It's like maybe. You might have it, depending on how you argue. I might put Ichigo in front of Shunsui because I'm more certain Ichigo would have it than Shunsui. Soifone, I mean, it's not likely she has it, but she could develop it. Like, I think she could, I don't want to say awaken because you're born with it, but like, we're about to see Sanji awaken it. So I think she could awaken it. Ukitake, we don't know much about him. It's hard to go through his catalog because he's like a background character. Noritora, it's just not likely. The means he takes just doesn't give us Conqueror vibes, right? But he's almost like a Blackbeard. So if Blackbeard has Conquerors, then I would say Noritora has Conquerors. But it's not likely either of them have it, honestly. Oh, and then the not at all category, I think this is self-explanatory. Like, I don't got to explain this. Like, no. All right, guys. That's all I got for you today for this video. Let me know which ones you guys want to talk about next time in the comments. I'm thinking of doing Hunter x Hunter next, or Black Clover, or Jujutsu Kaisen. You know, I think those could be fun to do. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is your boy, the One Tay, and we are out.